Welcome back to our web accessibility testing course. Today we will look into buttons, links, and navigation in single page applications. Let's start with buttons. Buttons are not just visual elements, they are interactive components that users rely on to perform actions. Properly designed and coded buttons are essential for ensuring that all users, including those with disabilities, can navigate and interact with your website effectively. Let's see if we are getting any issues in our inaccessible page for the buttons. So we'll start with site improve, and we will see we have only one issue with buttons, and that is that it is telling about that button missing a text alternative. Now, what is this exactly and where it is? So the issue is on this plus button, and the issue it is clearly telling is that this button is missing a text alternative. So when a screen reader comes on to this place, there is no alternate text that a screen reader could read on. So let me open my voiceover and let's come to this point. So if you could see that it is just saying button and nothing else. So this is kind of confusing for the user, visually impaired users, like what is this button, like what task it is going to perform. And that's where it's bad. And that's why this accessibility checker is complaining about it. Now, we don't see any other issues with the buttons, but there are. And the reason why is accessibility checker can only check with certain logical operations. So mostly if there is a text alternate issues in the button, then only you will get some issue regarding the buttons. So generally if there is a button implementation like this, where there is just icon button and nothing else, there should be a label provided. Developer should add area label, and it should be a meaningful label that it says what task it is going to perform. So for accessible, we will just see the same thing, whether it's there or not. So here we are. And for this position, we can see that on focus of this button, we are getting the other details. Let's go back and come back. So it is clearly telling increment age by 118 and button. So it is telling about what is the current value of the age, and this button can increment the age, and that's where it is more meaningful. So an area label must be provided for icon buttons or similar to that. And also if there is a scenario where there is a button and it contains some icons left and right, this area label must be provided to guide like this button is going to do this task. And that's what. Now, one more thing we could see how this accessibility checkers works is they read the page and then show it. So most of the time I have seen developers even add, instead of using the HTML button, they will just use a and div or span and then perform the whole task. So that is possible by the mouse clicks, but it doesn't work with the screen reader. And if we just quickly change this to span, so what will happen if I want to put focus? You see, after the focus of this caret, the focus is directly going to the please consider giving a star place. S- You can see, right? It is directly jumping from here to here. So we can't go to the submit place. And the reason being, this is created using a span instead of a button element. So never use anything else than button. And even if you are using div or span or anything else, make sure you add tab index and give the value of 0, provide it a role of button. But in my experience, they are just overhead. You should just simply use the button element and it works well. You can give all kind of styling to it and it will work exactly as what you are trying to achieve with div. Now, what next for the testers when you are testing the buttons? Generally, there is few more things that are missing. So if we come here, what happens when I am focusing? You see there is a box shadow is there. When I'm coming here, you see there is a shadow over here, and that is telling that, okay, yes, this button is in focus state. The same goes for, oops, let me refresh this. So the same goes for this submit button. You can see a box shadow, and that is telling that this button is in focus. Now you could also see this box here. Still, I'm asking like why we should look for this is, let me close this. And when I'm coming here now, you don't see that border anymore. So you can only see this box shadow. You could still see the bluish outline, but most of the times we even write this style as outline 0, and in that case you don't see any outline. And the same goes for this submit as well. So for a tab user, if you are still coming to this place, if there is no box shadow, it will be very hard to say where the focus exactly is. And we can confirm this by visiting our inaccessible page, and you see there is a very outline, but the focus on hovering you are getting a different look and feel. And the same goes for this submit. You can't say for sure whether this submit button is in focus or not. And that's what we should be looking into. So this is also an issue as per accessibility, but you can't get this by using automated accessibility checker tools. So for accessibility testing on buttons, we should first see for with siteimprove or Wave that are there any icon buttons or any buttons which doesn't have any text alternative if needed. And after that, we should see whether that on focus, if you have any other different look and feel or not. And you should see whether you are able to put focus or not. Let's move on to links. Links are fundamental for navigation and must be implemented correctly to be accessible. Like buttons, they should use proper HTML elements, which is anchor tag. Now for links again, there should be a clear and descriptive indicating where the link will take to the user, and we should avoid using vague text like click here, read me more, and instead use phrases like read more about our services, visit our blogs. And this is particularly very important for screen reader users who may navigate by links alone. Now, before we start that, let's see whether we have any issues with site improve or not. And like button, we have the same issue with site improve, that the link is missing a text alternative. Now, let's see where this is. So the same thing like this icon button, we have a icon link that will navigate us to home, but there is no alternative text is provided. So when the screen reader comes to this place, screen reader might just say link or just don't say anything, and that will confuse the user that where this is going to take me or what is the purpose of this link. So let's start our voiceover and see how we can check for the same thing as buttons. Let's see what screen reader will read for this home icon. As you can see, it says visited link, image, practice accessibility testing. I mean, it's all telling about the group and nothing else. Now, instead, it should be telling that it will take us to home by saying go to home visited link and such, but it's not telling anything because it has been not provided any text alternative, which the site improve is complaining about. Let's see how our accessible page handles this. For our accessible page, it is telling visited link, and then it is talking about go to home. Now you see there is an image option currently showing, which I believe is a mistake, and I'll fix it from my side. But let's focus on the main part, that it should just say visited link and after that go to home, demo link, and like that. And that's what it will be when you will be testing for it. So make sure you check on that part. Now let's look into navigation in single page applications. Single page application content is dynamically loaded without a full page refresh. Properly managing focus and area roles is crucial here. When the content changes, you need to manage focus so that screen reader users are aware of the changes. It is always a good idea to put focus on the new content or an appropriate headings. Let's see what I mean. Let me start with the home page, and this time I won't use the mouse to navigate from one page to another. So you can see currently I am focused on accessible page, and here when I press enter, you could see now I am on the accessible page. Now my focus is on accessible page heading, and that's what single page navigation should be. Now if I do the same thing, if I go to the navigation and then go to inaccessible page, you see the focus is throughout the page, and it is just telling about this title and uh, just the page. So there is no focus on the heading, and that's what is more difficult. So for single page application, since the page is not refreshing, the user may have to navigate through all the links and everything before coming to the main page. Since generally the navigations doesn't change in single page application, only the main content changes, it is a good idea to just put focus on the heading so that the user can navigate through down of it on the heading. So user can just navigate after that every time the page changes. Now let's go back to our accessible page. So we'll just open the router. Oops, this is inaccessible page, so I can't say much. So I'll just use the tab. And now we are on accessible. If we go back to the home page, let's see where our focus is. So our current focus is on this heading again. So this way we can confirm that we are sticking to the same method in single page application. Every time a navigation happens, every time the content changes with route, we focus on the heading, and this is how we navigate in single page applications. In this video we covered buttons, links and navigation in single page applications. Remember to use semantic HTML to provide clear and descriptive labels, manage focus properly, and use area roles and attributes to enhance navigation for screen readers. Thank you for watching this video on accessibility testing tools. Please subscribe to our channel for more insights on web development and accessibility. If you found this video helpful, like and comment below with any questions or topics you would like to see covered. See you in the next video.